that me and the boys decided to go out for a bicycle ride together. And youngest boy has just gotten old enough to pedal his own bike, but he's not quite strong enough to make it up and down the Midwestern hills around our neighborhood. So I got on the Facebook Marketplace and I purchased a tag-along bike. It sort of like clips underneath my seat, and then there's like half a bike, some handlebars, and a third wheel that he can sit on and pedal to help me up the hills. And while, yes, it is efficient that he is on a well-inflated tire and he is back there, I really have not been giving myself the credit that I feel like I deserve for dragging him around up and down the relatively large hills that me and Elder Boy traverse to get to where we're going. But the other day we went to a Lego store that we have in our little township, and we rode all the way across town to get there and all the way back. And before we made it back to our house, we stopped at my folks' house to refill water bottles and have a little snacky. And my youngest decided to inform my parents that I actually wasn't doing any pedaling for the entire trip, and that he was the one who was powering us all the way out and back. And, I let him have a small victory, but it still hurt a little bit on the inside. It was like, come on, man. We're doing work.
TJ, we went live.
So we did.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 168 of Sawdust Talk. And we are joined tonight by Bryan of, is it Lehigh?
Lehigh. I should have said it was Lehigh.
Lehigh?
Should have stuck with it. Should have gone with the ruse. It's Lehigh Valet Workshop.
There we go.
Yes. It's French. It's cool.
We are going to get into him in just a moment. TJ's going to run through our sponsors real quick.
Very cool. So every week, we start the show by thanking Hannah and the team over at Surf Prep Sanding Systems. If you want to be one of the cool kids and work with a Surf Prep sander of your own, go check them out at surfprep.com. And if you're going to be doing some shopping there, use coupon code Sawdust Talk. Especially pay close attention to the little foam-backed abrasive spacers. Gets down into all of the nooks and crannies of your moldings and your complex curves, and it is a wonderful addition to your sanding system. Pretty affordable also. So yeah, check that out, surfprep.com. Also, go to caseybombshell.com if you are looking for Sawdust Talk merch, because nothing really says filling out my fall wardrobe like a Sawdust Talk branded hoodie. Zip up or pull over. I'm pretty sure that both are an option over there. You can check them out, caseybombshell.com. And while you're there, if you want to check out Layla's awesome scroll saw art, it's mostly geek culture and tattoo flash inspired. Really fun, sort of punk rock themed artwork there. Next, we need to talk about Makers for St. Jude. According to Jessie on our last show, we have raised something in the neighborhood of $11,000 in 2025 to fight childhood cancer through Makers for St. Jude. It is a group fundraising effort that we have hitched our wagon to, and what we do is we help facilitate makers, typically in the Instagram and YouTube communities, to create a raffle website where they can take either a good that is designed for the raffle or perhaps an extra piece, and the proceeds from the raffle tickets go directly to the St. Jude Children's Charities, which are headstrong in their fight against childhood cancer. We really like working with St. Jude because the money goes not only towards research, but it also goes towards families, and not just for the treatments, but also for housing and getting them to the specialists that the kids really need. Really great charity to be hitched up with. And if you want to get involved so that you can take the cool stuff that you make and do cool things for other people, you're going to get a hold of Mike over at Makers for St. Jude or at Woodworker versus Cancer. You can get a hold of me at TJT Workshop or Building Jessie right down here, or anybody that's attached to Sawdust Talk. We'd love to see more people get involved. Wonderful place to be. And lastly, there is a Patreon for the channel. It is a small Patreon. It allows us to do things like buy lodging and get gear to make sure that we're all coming in nice and clear and you can hear us, and that the production values stay slowly increasing in quality over time. And that's just $5 a month. And you can find that at Patreon/Sawdust Talk. We appreciate all of our Patreons. Thank you so much for all of your support. And I think that's going to cover all of our sponsors and doodads, right?
I think you got it all.
Nice.
Bryan, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
I think we should probably start with the super softball. Like, who are you? Why are you? How did you get into this situation?
Who am I? That's not a softball. That's existential dread right there. Who am I as a person? No, my name's Bryan. Hi, I'm a woodworker in quotation marks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the kind of person that was raised as a woodworker. Like, I didn't have family that were woodworkers. My dad didn't do, the only thing my dad did was like throw a stapler at the floor and say like, fuck this. Like, and he was never a handyman sort of guy. But then, I always had this thing in the back of my head that I wanted to do carpentry and woodworking. So, what was it, 2018, I was working on a congressional campaign. It was the worst job of my fucking life. It was horrible. It was 12-hour days, Monday through Sunday, July through November, the entire campaign. It was just miserable. Got done with that, and I was like, I can't do this shit anymore. So I was like unemployed, and I decided to just go on Facebook Marketplace and I was going to buy a circular saw, and then I saw a miter saw, and I had no idea what the hell it was. And I was like, that looks really cool. I'm going to buy that instead, because it was $50, and the circular saw I was looking at was like 35. So I went to some dude's house, bought the miter saw, made a workbench, and then I didn't stop. And I'm still doing it now, just bumbling along, figuring things out as I go. That's sort of my origin story.
Dude, I love it, man. And I think anybody who takes a pleasant stroll through your Instagram, we'll call it a portfolio. I think portfolio is a perfectly reasonable word to describe the body of work that you've at least pinned up into the top half, and the final projects that you're doing can see that your work has obviously evolved beyond 2x4s and building a workbench. I mean, you've got some scroll saw work in there that is breathtaking.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I remember actually the first time I used hardwood, I went to a place called Bucks County Hardwood, and I talked to the woman who was working there, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I was like, what would be a good hardwood to make an Adirondack chair out of? And she told me poplar, and she was a liar. That I only found out later, because who the hell makes an outdoor chair out of poplar? But I think it was like, obviously, like, poplar is like that step up, because it's not a softwood, it's not pine, but it's not a really hardwood like something like oak. So you end up with like poplar, a lot of first projects, and it's cheap. So I think she was being kind in that regard. But I made my first Adirondack chair out of poplar, and that was my first like leveling up project. What was it?
Wasn't that your very first Instagram post? Was an Adirondack?
You guys did a deep dive. It might have been. I have no idea. I don't post often enough, so you only have to scroll down a little bit to get to my first ones. But yeah, you probably saw the whole evolution and the whole awkward evolution of me just posting random shit at first, and then slowly doing like build videos with no narration. And then one day I just got sick of it, because like I'm twisted in the brain, and I think about like the woodworking meta that exists. And there's this woodworking meta that was sort of like, I would say, spearheaded by a guy like Jimmy DiResta, where it was like long build videos with no talking that were kind of sped up. And a lot of people were doing that because a lot of people like me are really socially awkward. So the thing that we do is like, we don't talk, we just post our videos. And I was doing that for a long time, and I was like, I'm sick of this shit, because everybody's doing this, and like everybody's doing the same projects, and like the sort of like YouTube ecosystem of woodworking was always like the same shit over and over again. And it was very safe, and it was very much like, it was a lot of people trying to get free tools from companies and doing it in a way that was as innocuous as possible, because you don't want to have opinions on social media, because then you can alienate people, and if you alienate people, DeWalt isn't going to send you a jigsaw. So I got sick of it, and I was like, fuck it. So I was like, I'm going to make a cutting board and just be a sarcastic asshole the entire time. And I did that. And when I did that, I posted it on TikTok, and my following went from like 5,000 to like 21,000 within like 2 days. And I was like, oh, I guess this is what I'm doing now. And then that's just how that's how the sarcastic stuff started. That's how I started doing I don't even know what you would call them.
I mean, it's kind of a verbal dump, but I don't know if you know Alex Duffy, our friend Alex Duffy. He does like standing thoughts with Alex Duffy, and it's like if you're sitting in the shop long enough, you're gonna have a whole bunch of shit going through your head, right? So I kind of feel like your videos show that, oh, this is all this shit that's going through my head, and you just say it. Like no filter, no nothing. You just say it.
Well, yeah, like that's one of the things. I don't know. Authenticity is like important to me. I even hate saying that because that's the most inauthentic fucking thing to say. Everybody says authenticity is important to them. Like, what the hell do you mean? But like, what I mean by it is like, I've watched like when you go through YouTube woodworking videos, if you there, it's so much of the same shit. It's like the hot topic of the day, and we're going to say it in a way like, how many videos do I need to watch about the fact that we use board feet when we go to a lumber yard? There's like, it's just the same thing over and over again. And I was like, it's not, it doesn't reflect the reality of how it actually is in my shop, where it's like hot and I feel like shit and I fuck up all the time and I'm covered in sweat and I'm pissed off, and I'm like, it's not this sanitized shit that I'm getting on YouTube, because I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to court sponsors and things like that. So I was just like, I'm going to provide that perspective because I felt like that perspective was kind of lacking within the woodworking arena. And that's what I did in those first couple of videos. And it's evolved since then to what it is now. But like, that was sort of like the impetus that got me to make those first couple of videos.
I gotcha. So when it comes to things like, God, this is such a broad brushstroke term, but like project selection, right? So like when you're choosing what you're going to be doing next, right? Is this a typically needs based scenario, or are you doing commission work now and that's sort of driving the direction that you're going, or how are you steering the ship at this point?
So it's like separated into a couple of things. Like the business side, I'm not doing commissions right now because I actually just put up a TikTok or Instagram story about this today, of like the difficulty of navigating commissions, and I find it to be more profitable for myself to do these drops. Like I have a drop coming up on Saturday, where I make a whole bunch of shit. Like I've made in the past 4 weeks, I've made about $31,000 worth of stuff, and it's like bookmarks and notebooks and like these maps behind me. Like I make these things and I put them up on my site. If you look through Instagram, you've seen them. But like those go up there, and like it's all a bunch of like smaller stuff priced anywhere from like $20 up through the biggest stuff is like $450. And I find that to be more, I'm more in control of that, because if I'm going commission based, it's like I'm talking to clients and it's emails and it's designs and it's revisions and it's weeks of my time. And then at the end of that, I make a couple $1,000. If I do what I'm doing right now, I can focus more on making a ton of stuff and selling that stuff and doing it on my own terms and being able to make, I find to be more profitable to do that because of my following. Because I have like 180 something thousand on Instagram and I've got like 400,000 on TikTok. So like I have a ton of people, and not all those people want a $3,500 workbench, but maybe a bunch of them want a $20 notebook. And so for me, it's just more sensible to try to make a lot of smaller stuff at reasonable prices than one or two big fat fucking things at high prices. Is just the way that I do it. And then the other thing is, in terms of like the bigger projects you see on my page, that is needs based. It's like shit in my house that I just want to make, and I can use my business as an excuse to make it, because it's like, hey, I can buy this wood and it's a tax write-off, and then I can make myself a gaming table or whatever it happens to be that week. So those are like the two different, the business arena versus like the bigger project arena.
Okay, and so like if I
Nice.
sorry, I've got
You got
bugs
attacked.
attacking. Yeah, I know. We got cluster flies this week in Missouri, and it's just been neat. Um, let's say I wanted a CNC map of the Sword Coast, right? And who knows,
Mm.
maybe you could manifest something like that. Would that be something that you would think, okay, well, my audience might dig on that, so I'll do one for TJ, and then I'll just sneak 3 up onto the website on the backside, because what's a few more pieces? Or how does that line expand again? Because I think all of the stuff that you do is so marketable, right?
Yeah.
Like it's it is sellable, and so I understand the batch work.
So these maps in the back that you see, like this one right here, that's Middle Earth. Everybody knows Middle Earth. I just love Tolkien. I've mentioned, I run a Silmarillion podcast. I do a Tolkien podcast. So like this was something I just wanted to do. I sat down at Adobe Illustrator and figured it out. I'm not an artist, but like I don't know. I've got this bug up my ass where if I want to do something, I'll just figure it out and it'll work out because it just has to work out. Like that's the only option. So I made that map and then I started selling it and it did really well. And then I was like, well, there's another map I want to make. And then I made the map of Westeros. I'm not really a George R. R. Martin fan. I could honestly go on a 2-hour podcast about like why I don't like George R. R. Martin as much as I like Tolkien, but we're not here for that. But yeah, so I did the Westeros map and then I was like, that's cool. And then I'm a nerd. I like video games. So I was like, the next map I want to do is Elden Ring because it's a weird map. You can't see it right now. It's off screen. It's on the other side of the Middle Earth map, but like it was a harder map to do. So I did that one. And then this one right here, actually, that's Amon. That is the continent on. So Middle Earth is on the planet of Arda. And the other continent is Amon, which is where the Valar live, who are like the gods of Middle Earth. And part of the podcast, we were doing like the really deep dive Tolkien nerd stuff. And that involves like learning about Amon and the Valar and reading the Silmarillion. So I just sat down one night and I was like, I'm going to make that map. And I did that in about a night, which was the fastest map I've ever done. The Middle Earth map took me like 2 months. Like maps usually take me about 2 months to do the design. And that's how those maps came about. And it's about, like 2 months of design work in Illustrator. I get it down and then I switch it over to Lightburn, which is like the laser. I use a laser. I don't use a CNC, which is like my laser cutting program. I put it in my laser. I get it cut. I like fine tune it, figure out the design work. And then once that's done, the actual process of like building it, I've done it enough now that they're kind of all the same at that point. It's stick it in a frame, put a background on it, get a frame on it, pour epoxy in there. Bob's your uncle, and we got a map. That's kind of the process for it. I have had people, though, say that I should make the Brandon Sanderson maps, and I just haven't done it yet because I haven't read Brandon Sanderson. And like most of the products I do, this is why I'm a bad business person, is not based off of like, ooh, I think there's a market for that. It's like, ooh, I think that'd be fucking cool. So I'm going to make that thing and then see if other people want it. And this is what makes me a bad business person. But that's where all these maps came from. All these maps started as, ooh, that would be fucking cool. And like one I'm working on right now, I don't know if it's actually going to happen because it's way harder in terms of scale. And I'm not an artist, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, is like doing the United States as like a fantasy map where I incorporate like the national parks into it and like turn the highways, like major highways, into like trails and stuff like that, which sounds really cool. But I'm not an artist and I am fucking fumbling through that one, I'll tell you. But I'm not working on that right now.
Oregon
I got
Trail.
other shit going on. Yeah, I can throw the Oregon Trail on there.
Okay, but that final idea is absolutely rad. And geez, you should start your own Patreon just to keep you stimulated to keep working on it, man. That is...
I do have a Patreon.
Yeah. that is a worthwhile endeavor and sounds really
I
cool.
might end up scaling it down to like the Northeast first, because the entirety of the United States is fucking huge compared to like this stuff. It's so much more vast with so much more detail. So if I could like pare it down into like either the Northeast, because I live here, or Pennsylvania, which is the state that I live, like figure it out in that way. Because like I said, if I took out a piece of paper and a pen right now, my stick figure would not look good. So like I'm just bumbling through this.
Okay, so I hear excitement about the maps and like making the art, but recently we've heard from you that you've kind of been going through a period of burnout when it comes to social media and whatnot. So where's the line for you between the excitement that I hear from you talking about making these maps and the creativity side of it and what you post? Because your videos are amazing.
Thank you. So I fucking love everything woodworking. I spend 8 to 10 hours a day in my shop woodworking. The narrations I do are a monstrous pain in the ass for me. Because so like if you've never heard of me before and you're watching this, I started by saying I made sort of like those sarcastic cutting board videos. Over time, that's evolved now where I just 100% am talking about politics and the current state of affairs in this country and everything like that. And my issue is adding to the conversation. And like, this is not so much a woodworking thing here. Like, I don't have any burnout when it comes to woodworking. I'll spend the entirety of my life in my shop. I love it down there. It is like my happy place to be doing all of that kind of stuff. But when I sit down on my computer and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a 300 to 400 word essay about the current state of affairs in this country, it's at the point where I feel like I'm going to claw my fucking eyes out because I was looking at the chat. My struggle is, what am I actually adding to the conversation right now? Because if you go online, the hot thing to do is to just shit all over the opposing political belief that you don't agree with. And you have creators whose entire accounts are just like, I know that like this is an Instagram thing, but like I'm going to stitch another creator who I don't agree with, and I'm going to shit on them. And then they're going to stitch me back and they're going to shit on me. And we all get views and we all get paid at the end of the day. And I'm like, this feels like just a bunch of people standing in a circle jerking off. Like, I can't, like, it's not contributing anything to the conversation. And so I'm like, what are my narrations doing? Am I just pissing people off? Am I just inflaming an already inflamed situation in this country? Am I adding anything to the discourse that is fucking worthwhile? And I struggle with that every single time that I sit down, because it's like, what the fuck am I doing? And like, that's the struggle I've been having lately. Like, what the fuck am I actually doing? So that's where the burnout is kind of coming from.
Do you actually have conversations back with people when they like comment with
No, not really.
you? Like, do you open the conversation to like have the conversation, or are you just posting the videos like, no, this is where I stand? Or are you opening the conversation with people?
I'm not having conversations with people. I don't find value in having conversations online with people of opposing viewpoints, especially who are like far right sort of extremist viewpoints, because like I've gotten people who have messaged me and they're like, come on my podcast and let's talk about this. Or like that sort of like debate bro culture that's out there with guys like Destiny and Dean Withers, I think his name is, and that where there was that whole like Unfuck America tour and that kind of thing. Like I tend to avoid those arenas because, again, like I'm like, everyone here is cosplaying, it feels like, politics. Like, it feels like you're doing this because you want to get views, because you want to make money. And I feel like there is a massive grifter problem throughout social media where like people aren't necessarily being genuine. They're being grifters because they want to make money. I think about people like the Elder Millennial or something like that on TikTok and things like that. It feels very performative. And I'm just like, I don't necessarily want to engage in that arena.
Fair.
No, I think that you're really onto something with this idea of adding to the conversation and questioning yourself with, what the hell am I doing, right? Like, I think anybody who's tried to do a voiceover video, either with or without a script, and if you're not simply viewing the video and trying to educate and explain exactly what's taking place, trying to create fresh copy is almost like trying to write an editorial column, but that requires research and reflection. And, I think kudos to you for taking the time to go about it in a way that you find meaningful, right? Other people can have their opinions, and we know how the world feels about opinions because everybody has one, but like, I really think that, one, your capacity for narrating and keeping your uhs and ums and your ohs and your uhs in check is really to be commended. I think even if reading off a script, you're
script
just
everything.
You're really executing.
You're getting attacked
really
over
well.
there.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
script everything. Like at first when I was doing the first couple of videos, it was just off the cuff, just whatever the fuck. And now, because the subjects I'm talking about are like complicated subjects, I could go off the cuff, but I'm like, there are details here that I would not be covering if I just went nuts. So now I sit down, I have all of these written out in a Word document. If the FBI ever raids my house, they're going to be like, Jesus, we found the fucking next Oklahoma bomber, when they go through my Word documents, because of all the rants that are just in there. The one, like the video that I put up today, that rambling is in my Word documents. It's literally staring at me right now. But I script everything because I'm just like, I'm at a point now where I am tackling subjects where I need to be a little bit more careful with my language and a little bit more pensive before I open my fucking mouth and just start letting shit fall out of it, which used to be the approach.
The funny The funny
And
thing
was
is
that
that with all the F-bombs and like not giving a shit how you say stuff or whatever, what did I say to you the other day? I was like, you're using words that I learned in like college prep English. Like I was like, what was your SAT score? Because like you sound smart as fuck.
Well, I do have a bachelor's degree in writing. Like that is like I went to school for that. And my original plan before I realized that capitalism is a hellhole is I wanted to go and get a master's in literature and then get a doctorate in American lit and focus on like 19th century American literature. I'm that kind of fucking nerd. But then I realized, like, if I did that, I would be basically living in a cardboard box writing essays about Herman Melville, and I couldn't do that. So that path didn't work out. So now I just sort of cosplay it online with these like narrations that I do.
I love it.
right? But I guess the other thought that I want to make sure that we hit home is this bringing you joy, or is this just the way that you're delivering what you feel you should share with the
It's
rest
a
of the class?
compulsion. Like I have to do it. Like it's in my head and it needs to come out, and I vomit it onto my computer screen, and then I subject the rest of the world to it. Like that is just kind of how I view the things that I write. And for some reason people are like, hey, yeah, I like to get vomited on by you, and I'm like, okay, maybe buy a bookmark every once in a while so I can keep doing it.
And
Right on.
how do you start your rants? What's your intro line?
Well, it used to be hey fuckheads, but then I stopped doing that actually because I think that the algorithm was punishing me for dropping the F bomb within the first like 10 seconds of a video. Because after a while, it was just like my reach died. And then I stopped saying hey fuckheads. And then it came back. And I was like, oh, I guess I can't say hey fuckheads anymore. But I miss it. Like it's a good intro, man. I miss it. And like I miss calling all my people fuckheads.
I don't think you should stop because I mean I told the beard that you were coming on the podcast and he was like, please make him say it on the podcast. And I'm like, I'll make him say it on the podcast. Hey fuckheads.
I actually had like t-shirts made up that said hey fuckheads and my logo was on the back. And then I would edit, like back in the day, if you went through my content you might have seen when I did closed captions on TikTok, I would edit it to hey floop heads because that was just what came to me. So I had a censored version of the shirt that also said hey floop heads. I was thinking about wearing a hey fuckhead shirt if I go to Maker Camp because I feel like that's my defining characteristic.
You should.
You're right, but also one, can't wait to hang out with you at Maker Camp, and two, I feel like that shirt now is a moral imperative. Just something that is unavoidable.
happen.
It is a point in time and space that I think you must indulge
I'll
yourself
bring
and
the
all
hey
of us
fuckhead
with.
shirt to Maker Camp.
Maker
This will bring me
Maker
so
Camp
much
is
joy.
like I feel like everybody has like their versions of shirts that they bring. So I mean the AWP guys always have some kind of new shirt design that they bring. I think I saw the other day that Maker's Way has a Maker's Way shirt. So it's a picture of a shirt on a shirt. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Peter Kapar has it. It's
I didn't see
Maker's
that.
Way shirt on a shirt. And then last year we got they have the milk run over there. It's a little girl. And we got shirts that said the milk rub. Because one year I think Jeff convinced everybody it was actually called the milk rub and it's actually the milk run, but you know, whatever. So
I've never actually been to a woodworking event. This would be the first time I've ever like met people from the internet. I've had people like I've hung out with a couple of people that I know that are other like content creators who are like kind of local to me, but I've never gone to Maker Camp. I never went to Workbench Con. I've never been to the Texas one. I never went to Vegas when they do that thing. They just did a Maine woodworking event. I've never gone to any of these things. This is my like coming out party, I suppose, in a way, if I go to Maker Camp.
Let me tell you, sir, save your nickels. It is one of the most wonderful weekend getaways that you can experience as an adult. Because one, you get to realize that about 80% of the people that you are having discourse with through the internet, should they be there in person, are pretty much the same people, man. Like they are just people, and they are kick-withable. How about that
I
for a
like it.
sentence? Yeah, no, they are all kick-withable, and then you get to do the stuff that you guys love doing separate together, and that's just a different way to experience hanging out with your friends. And like when you're woodworking, you don't necessarily talk to somebody in sorry, these flies are driving me crazy. You don't necessarily talk to somebody else in your shop if you're working alone, but Maker Camp gives you that opportunity to work alone right next to somebody. So I like to call it, parallel play, right? So you get to collaborate if you want, because your friends are right
So I don't
there.
know if this reference is going to be lost on you guys, but you're like turning into Winnebago Man up there with the flies. Have you ever seen that? Fucking flies. Yeah, that's what's happening up there with you.
Yeah.
The Maker Camp thing is actually interesting. So I overthink everything. That's like just part of who I am. And going to Maker Camp is like, it's always, or going, like I thought about a couple of times, Workbench Con or Maker Camp, and it's like, it's almost a weird experience for me because like I don't feel fully part of like the maker community because of the way that I do my videos, because like nobody else is really doing what I do. And like nobody really, this sounds weird, but like nobody talks to me that much in the maker community. Like this is the first time I've ever been invited on a podcast in the maker community. And like, and I feel like this weird sort of pariah in a way, because like I'm sort of kryptonite for a lot of creators, because you don't really like, if you're doing this right, like you're trying to make it, and so you want to get the sponsorships and like get that sort of ad revenue and things like that, and then you look at my page and I'm just like, fuck this, fuck that, politics, blah blah blah. I am the kryptonite for like a lot of the typical maker thing. And so like I've always been sort of felt like I had one foot in, one foot out of the maker community, because I feel like I'm kind of on this weird fucking island over here, because there's really nobody else that's talking about the weird shit that I talk about.
Right, but what you're talking about and what you're producing are two different hobbies
Right?
being shared at the
Because
same
like, and
time,
that's the
though, right?
weird thing, because
Right.
I have friends also who are in like the political spheres, right? Like who aren't at all involved in the maker community. I have people I talk to over in those capacities as a content creator, that there's just no overlap between that like sort of maker thing and this thing. And it's weird because on the maker side of things, I've actually felt a lot more pushback, because the maker side, in my experience, tends to be a bit more on the conservative bent. And so I've had a lot of people who follow me because they're like, oh, those are such cool videos. And then they unmute the video and they're like, what the fuck is this? And then I get blocked, or I get a DM that they start sending slurs to me in DMs and things like that.
Well, I mean, you have to be. I don't think there's a better way to be, though. Like, just to be yourself, be true to yourself. I mean, you don't have, there's no like gray area. Like when people come to your page, they know what they're getting. So they're either going to befriend you or they're not. But I mean, I personally can say that I messaged you a few times before you ever responded. So, I had to
I'm also like
away at that.
antisocial as fuck.
That's all right. You can hang out with me on the lathe, and we can be grouchy next to each other, and it'll be fine. I'll teach you how to make magic wands.
I get
It'll be a hoot and a
I get
half.
such, so DMs actually give me so much fucking social anxiety, because like when I hear back from people, this is just me and my insecurities flying around. I talk about this too on my page, but like it's like people DM me and I'm like, oh, they don't want me to respond to them. Like that's what, like, my initial reaction is always like, oh, that person's just like, they're just entertaining me. Like they're just sending me something that they just like to like make me feel better about something. They don't actually want to engage in conversation with me, because I have all this, like, of course, like someone like me who's the way that they are in my page, of course I have all this anxiety and fucked up shit going on in my head too, on top of everything.
I think that Maker Camp's going to be amazing for you, because we talked about this earlier today. Like, going to your first maker event is like so anxiety driven. Like, we all felt it, like going to our first like big event, whether it's Workbench Con or Maker Camp or any of these festivals. Like, you go to that first event and you're just like, oh my gosh, are these people gonna like me? Like, I talked to them online, but like, do they remember me? Do they know my page? Do they know, like, are they gonna remember my name? And then you get there and all of it goes away. Like, people are just accepting. Everyone is a friend. Like, I mean, there's a few shitty people out there, but, you know, fuck them, right?
It's a big
Honestly.
event. You can be not where they
But
are.
Yeah.
you get
Like,
there, and like a lot of that stress just like goes away, and you'll see. It feels like, you know, these friends, online friends that have been friends forever, are actually real life friends, and it doesn't feel any so.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you're freaking out and you don't know what to do, come find me. I'll be standing next to a lathe and say, TJ, it's pizza time, and we'll walk over and we'll get
I'm-
fired pizza. And I'll play footsies with you under a picnic
I'll just
table, and it'll be
mainline a
awesome.
shitload of Klonopin and get through it. That's the way to do it. I'm prescribed. I just like to say that's not just like me saying to do recreational drugs. I wouldn't recommend that. But go to your therapist and get that benzos and ride through the anxiety-inducing situations like a real adult.
There you go. So the very first post that you currently have in your portfolio is a couple of lanterns on Instagram. Sorry, in your collection, and I am not looking at it at the moment, but like it looks like a couple of lanterns, and a few of them have some sort of Kumiko
it's got
stuff
that
going
vibe.
on in it, little
Yeah.
geometric builds. Could you take like, I don't know, 2.5 minutes and talk a little bit about what stimulated the design and the approach and what you were thinking with those? Because I think they're
Thank you.
gorgeous. And if those are the only ones that exist, that makes me a little bit sad.
So I've been doing those lamps for a little bit now. The first ever one I did is the Tolkien lamp. It's got the White Tree of Gondor on two sides, and it's got the J.R.R. Tolkien initials on the other two sides. And that was, I was living in the last apartment I was at where I had a shop, and I just got the idea to do it. And I only had a scroll saw at that point, so I scrolled out the tree and the initials, and that fucking sucked. People like the scroll saw, and the second I got a laser, and I was like, I'm gonna throw that fucking scroll saw in the garbage and set it on fire. I know people are like, they're really into the art of scroll sawing. Not this guy over here. I like to not have arthritis. So yeah, the scroll saw was fun for 5 seconds, but then I got the laser and I could start cutting them out. And that design just came to me and I did it. And then a recent one that I did, it's part of this drop, is the Two Towers, Barad-dûr, and Orthanc, which is a Tolkien thing. That's two sides are Barad-dûr, two sides are Orthanc. And then the hexagons and the circles were just like, I thought it looked cool. So I sat down in Illustrator and did a bunch of designs. And then I was like, those circles look cool and those hexagons look cool. So I'm going to do that. I actually have a lamp that's sitting in my living room right now that's one of those, but it's fucking massive. Like, it's like probably, I don't even remember the dimensions, but I think it's like 4 feet by 4 feet and like all around, and it's all the hexagons, like the entire thing. Because when I got the laser, I was like, ooh, let's just see how big I can make shit. So I just started making, like, hence that map back there. That was like, what's the largest thing I can make in my laser? It's that right there, if you were wondering. And the lamp in the living room is also just an excursion in excess of seeing how big I could cut things in my laser. But that's kind of where the lamps came from. And then the actual joinery for them is all tongue and groove on everything. It comes together like a puzzle piece. I don't even remember coming up with that. I think it was just by accident. I was like, I think this works. And then it all came together. And when you look at it from the top, it looks like puzzle pieces. And I was like, oh, that looks like I know what the fuck I'm doing. So I'm going to keep that. And that's just kind of how it came together.
Sorry.
And so this was just like a Illustrator and build up surprise where you
Yeah, I
were
just
like,
dipped around
okay,
in Illustrator with like repeating patterns until I found some that tickled my brain in the right direction.
That's awesome.
No, it's
Sorry,
okay.
Jessie.
What laser do you have?
So I could go on another hour-long conversation about CO2 lasers because here's a hot sentence. I think CO2 lasers are a fucking scam, generally speaking. But so my first laser was an Ohm Tech, and then I don't know if you guys know lasers, but once I was done with the Ohm Tech, I was like, I'm going to get something bigger. And there's like Thunder, and there's the American ones like Eon and stuff like that, and they're insanely expensive. It's like $20,000, and I was like, these are fucking Chinese machines that these American companies are shipping in, and then they're like putting their logo on them and then marking the price up a bunch and then saying that they're doing all kinds of stuff to the lasers, and then the markup's insane. So I was like, I'm just going to find the factory in China and buy right from them. And that's what I did. I hunted online and I found Haitian Laser, which is like, they're more legitimate now, I guess. They're like around more, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Haotian. and I had Facebook DMs with a guy named Pascal Liu, who I think is someone you can DM, and I bought a laser that way through Facebook DMs. It was kind of sketchy, but I watched my laser come across the ocean in a boat and showed up in New York, and then I picked it up at the shipping place down the road from me, and that's how I got my laser.
Is it 60 watt, 100 watt?
It's 130 watts, and it has a bed that is 35 inches by 53 inches or something like that. It's massive.
Okay, and then what did you pay for it through?
8,000 instead of like 22. Like if you bought that thing right now from like Thunder, you'd be paying $20,000 probably. And I think by now Haitian has probably raised their prices, but I paid $8,000 for it.
I think I got my OhmTech 60 watt or 60. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it in 2020 for like 23.
Yeah, OhmTech doesn't really gouge their prices.
But their prices have definitely gone up since I bought mine.
Yeah, OhmTech is trying to get in on like the hot shit laser popularity that's flown up, because now they have these like OhmTech Pro machines that they're trying to compete, I think, with like Eon and Thunder, and they're more expensive. I think they realize that like, hey, we can charge more money for these things, so we're gonna do that. But like OhmTech, like is one of those things where you buy it and then you just figure it the fuck out because there's no customer service. You like call the customer service line and just like a tumbleweed comes out of your phone, so you just deal with it.
Yeah, except that there's like the laser community is like insane. That's where I think like if you're gonna get into the community and start like talking to people, like I have people on speed dial where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going wrong. What do I do here? That I can call like at the drop of a hat and they'll answer the phone and be like, hey, try this setting or change this thing, and they will help me fix my laser. So
yeah, the community's crazy. Like I'm in a couple of Facebook groups where it's just like everybody's talking. Like even like the legit company Facebook groups are still super helpful because all the lasers are the same. They just have like a different coat of paint on them. But yeah, I basically like took apart and put together my own tech machine just to figure it the fuck out so that I could understand it. The one thing that I will get on a soapbox about, no one knows how to align mirror 3. That is a fucking truth about the laser community. No one's figured it out. Everybody has the same bullshit approach and it's not right. And I'm still trying to figure it out with that. I 3D printed a thing that I put a laser pointer in to like put into my laser tube so that I could shoot the laser backwards through the machine and I could see exactly where like that red dot would be so I could perfectly align my mirrors. Nobody knows how to align laser 3 or fucking mirror 3.
Mirror 3, yeah.
This is the only time I've ever been able to say that in front of people who aren't going to like put me into an institution.
The cake may have been a lie after all. But yeah, I just, oh man, I love it. I love all of it. It brings me so much joy. So I feel like we've talked about the past work. We've talked about the present and the lasers. What do you suppose the future holds from you from a I want to do it for me project standpoint? Like we talked a little bit about batching things out, but like, can you share with us maybe a little peek into what you think you're gonna attempt to do before the holiday season? Maybe
it's madness right now because I'm trying to transition away from like sort of my due drops every couple of months, and I'm trying to have like regular inventory on my website going forward after this drop. I'm hoping, I don't know if this is going to fucking happen because like wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which fills up first. But I'm hoping that I can upgrade my notebook making capacity because I really like the notebooks I make. And I think they're a unique item that's really hard for other people to copy that because there's so many fucking steps. Cause like I make the pages myself too. I mean, like I don't like get out a fucking paper mill and pulp things together, but I buy pages and then like I print them and cut them and like punch holes in them and do the binding myself. And so like I'm trying to upgrade that to constantly have like bookmarks and notebooks on my website. So like that's the businessy type bullshit. In terms of projects that I want to work on in the future, big ones for me are a dining room table for my house because we are still using the rickety pile of sticks and death that was here when we moved in. And every time like people come over, they're like, "Oh, you should have a woodworker who lives here to make a table." And I'm like, "Are you gonna say the same fucking joke again? I'm kicking you out of my house." But then the other project I want to work on is, I guess it would be a built-in, but I want to make a bookshelf in our house because we currently have one that kind of sucks, and I want to rip it out and put a new bookshelf in and like make, this is grandiose and it's never going to fucking happen, but like I want to try to do like a hobbit hole circle in the middle, and then we did the Rivendell Lego set, so I want to like make a pedestal and put that on it, and then have one of my maps in the background, and then have the bookshelf all around it, and like that'll happen when pigs fucking fly, but that's like something that I have in my head that I'd like to do.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be a great build video.
Turning the corner for a moment, and coming back to like the community, I did see you post something the other day about our dear friend Pat Lapp, and appreciated that so much. That's also how I was like, "You're coming to Maker Camp? What? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited!"
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. For a while, I was like, "Oh, it's Lee Valley workshop, whatever."
Oh,
But
because it's the similarity between Lee Valley and Lehigh Valley.
how do you feel about that?
I never even thought about it. So the Lehigh Valley is where like I live. Like, so in Pennsylvania, there's Lehigh County and there's Northampton County, and together they're considered the Lehigh Valley. So that's where Lehigh Valley Workshop comes from. I never had even thought that Lee Valley and Lehigh Valley were so close together like that before, because I just went geographically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't even fucking thought about that.
But also Lee Valley, and we're not doing
Yeah,
that.
I feel like I feel like that's like a touchy subject in the maker community, because that's one of those things where like I feel like Lee Valley is sort of this like beloved hand tool manufacturer, and everybody likes their fucking planes and things like that. I have a Lee Valley plane in my shop or whatever. But then what happened to Pat, and I like, I'm not a lawyer, you know, and it's all he said, she said when you read the documentation. It's like Pat's argument versus Lee Valley's argument. And I read into the backstory, and like I can't say like if Pat is 100% in the right or if he's wrong or not like that, but to sue a maker for $500,000 because he posted videos that he was supposed to post when he was working there, and then you told him to take them down, it just seems like fishy bullshit to me. Like, it sounds like something that should have been taken care of in channels that weren't lawyers, in channels where like things could have just happened between parties. It sounds aggrieved on Lee Valley's part. It sounds vindictive. These are just my assessments of the situation. Pat's a great dude. He's like, him and I have DM'd for a while now. He told me to come to Maker Camp last year, and I didn't. And so like, Pat's always been a good dude, and he's a friend. I've never met him in life, but I consider him a friend, and I'm going to support my friend over some fucking company that's trying to sue him for $500,000 because he posted a couple of copyrighted videos. Like, oh, I can't make that gesture in here, but so yeah, so that was my like, we should support Pat. That's my opinion of it, and I know it's probably like a touchy subject in the fucking maker community because interested parties and all things like that, but I'm going to support the man. I'm not going to support the company.
I don't think it's touchy at all. I think that posting that was very, very cool of you.
Thanks.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to stand with the other people. You got to stand with the people that matter and your friends and shit like that. Because if you don't do that, then what the fuck do you stand for?
Exactly.
Yeah. Pat is a friend of the show, and I message with him a couple times a week, every week. I don't know Canadian law, right? I'm not a lawyer, right? So I can only have access to so many different documents, and I really don't want to pry into Pat's universe. And I don't know what his lawyers have told him, yes to share and not to share. That's none of my business. But if Pat's family needs help and all I have to do is write a check to be a part of it, I mean, I'm there with bells on. So
that was another thing I found really gross about the whole thing, was like all of this information about Pat is just out there. Like, I wouldn't want that shit out about myself. Like, now I know that like he was sick and he got fired from Lee Valley and then had a lawsuit. Like, why the fuck do I know that? I don't need to know that. Like, it's just, it sucks to have that information out there. It's not cool. I don't know. The whole thing gives me the ick, I think the kids would say.
The ick. There you go.
Yeah. All right, Brian. So we are at minute 49 now of the show. And this is normally where I ask if there was anything that you wanted to talk about on the show tonight that you have not had a chance to talk about. What would that be?
Is it my wish list of things to talk about? I don't got shit. I don't know. I barely know what I'm talking about when I'm making videos. So I'm just happy to be here.
Dude, that's awesome. All right, man. So I am going to run through sponsors one more time real quick, and then we're going to throw you the final question.
Final Jeopardy.
And we'll hear, Final Jeopardy. So, the category is motivational thoughts. Think
For
about your
300.
wagers now. So yes, we're going to one more time thank you, Hannah, and the team over at Surf Prep. If you make it to Maker Camp, I'm pretty sure that they're going to sneak a couple of their dust collectors in there. Maybe so, maybe not. We're going to figure out how that works. But get your hands on one of those dust collectors so you can hear them burp those HEPA filters. And if you just want one of those of your own for your shop, use coupon code Sawdust Talk while you're shopping at surfprep.com. I said it before, and I'll say it again. The finest Maker gear available has a Sawdust Talk logo on it. And if you want one, you're going to go to kcbombshell.com to get it. If you're thinking, you know what, how can I support this lovely podcast in a way that is meaningful and impactful on a month-to-month basis? Well, let me tell you, for $5 a month, that is less than a Trenta iced tea at Starbucks, I think. Don't quote me on that. I really don't go to Starbucks all that often. You could be supporting our show, helping us get some better gear, keep the production qualities increasing, and maybe helping us acquire lodging and transportation to Maker Meetup so that we can give you high fives and you can tell us to our face all of the things that you've been sending us in discreet messages. And then, finally, we need to talk one more time about Makers for St. Jude. Get involved with Makers for St. Jude. If you are scared, if you are worried that the quality of your work isn't there, stop it. Cut it out. What you do is important, and every dollar that you can raise, every raffle ticket that you can sell helps fight the terrible situation of kids with cancer. We would love to see you get involved. Get a hold of me, get a hold of Jessie, get a hold of Mike at Makers for St. Jude or at Woodworker versus Cancer. We'll get you a raffle set up. We'll get you some help with getting some pictures taken, get everything posted up so that you can be a part of something awesome. All that being said,
One more thing. We do have a giveaway to announce.
Oh,
We can't forget about this.
We almost closed it out because this is
we are
big
talking
news.
all about Maker Camp, and Brian's super excited to be there this year. TJ and I are going to be there, and we did a giveaway, and we need to announce the winner. And TJ, do you want to say who this is?
That is our dear friend Malcolm at Bossa Nova Woodworking. Woodworking.
Workshop.
I can't see it, dude. Workshop. That's right. My man's got it going on Bossa Nova. Malcolm, congratulations. One, I don't know if it could go to a better dude, and it brings me so much joy to see that you were the winner, fair and square, muchacho. So get a hold of us, get a hold of me, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction with Austin and the crew over there at Maker Camp. And I look forward to giving you the biggest hug and a high five in October.
Wait, what did he say? High five, hug, or handshake? I think all of the above. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Malcolm, you betcha. Great friend of the show. It was really cool. Okay, so final question, Brian. Every week we ask our guests to come up with like a motivational quote that resonates with you or a thought that you've had in the not too recent past that got you excited about picking up a tool or maybe might excite a fellow maker to open the door to their shop or make a bigger mess than they did the day before, or maybe clean up a mess and start something new, or just get adventurous, or simply be awesome.
Okay. I got something for you. This might take a minute. Is that okay? It's not like a little pithy quote.
But you got all the time in the world.
Well, so I posted this recently. It was like 2 or 3 posts ago. I did a kind of inspirational post, which is rare for me. But I have a ton of existential dread just from existing because I'm a fucked up person. And I'm not a religious man. So I think that when we die, there is nothing. You go to absolute nothingness. This is it. This is the only shot we got. And so one of the things that like sort of keeps me going is the realization that this is it. This is the only thing. There is no do-overs. There is no try again. There is no white fluffy clouds with your dead pets waiting for you when the lights go out. So I try and as hard as I possibly can, to learn as much as I possibly can and do as much as I possibly can and be in my shop every day doing as much as I possibly can. Because if I'm laying on the couch staring at my phone, that's time that I do not get back. There is no do-over. You just die, and now you've wasted all of your time on the couch. So to keep myself motivated, I think about the gaping maw of death that is coming for me at the end and try to do as much as I possibly can every single day of my life to avoid dying for, I mean, it's all meaningless, right? But to get to a point where I can feel comforted for myself that I have done and learned as much as I possibly can in this one small, shitty little life that we get. Do you like how I was inspirational and also horrible at the same time?
It brought me joy and dread, and at the same time filled me with
Beautiful.
excitement to fill my day
I
as
think the quote
robustly as
that
you.
defines me right now, that is always hanging above my head in the shop, is "One must imagine Sisyphus happy." So that is what I would leave everyone with: is one must imagine Sisyphus happy.
I think that's one thing I really
Right.
appreciate about you too is, like you were saying earlier, like your posts are not generic. They're not like the norm of just like, you know, Joe Schmo with their fast forwarded video and trendy music. It's like, it's thoughtful. It's thought invoking for sure. But it is genuine, and I know you don't like that word, but we're using it. It's genuine, and I appreciate that about you. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I just try not to bullshit myself too much because what the fuck's the point?
You're not the first person to say that on our show, believe it or
I
not.
actually got Mark L in the chat told me that I have a sad life view. That's a comment that I get a lot from people when I say that.
That's not the case at all. No, that is a very real and reasonable series of thoughts to chain together. I
Yeah,
followed you.
I usually, the second
Um,
that I start anything where I'm like, there is no God, it ruffles a little bit of feathers.
well,
it's
you can
okay.
ruffle feathers all you want, but TJ and I
Right.
appreciate you being on the show tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me. This was fun. My chair's
Dude, it
fucked
was
up now,
awesome.
so I can bounce back and forth at the end. I got a rocking chair
Huzzah!
now.
This has been episode 168 with Bryan, and we appreciate you. TJ, you want to take us out?
All right, boys and girls and people of all ages. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye.